Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. AMC stock down about 7.5% today. And we're going to get into exactly what was said last night on the earnings call and what analysts are saying today that is both good and bad. I want to tell you, all hope is not lost. AMC on a technical basis is looking very bullish, and this is something that is pretty typical for AMC. This is not atypical to see AMC go down after earnings to subsequently rally a couple of weeks after earnings. The next big catalyst, as you guys do know, is going to be the vote that will take place on March 14th, and we have a big update and some clarification for you guys on that front as well. So let's get into all of this key information. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. So first things first, we're going to come back to the technicals in just a minute, but this article is beautifully put together. It is a 2-minute read, so we will dive into it and go over a lot of the main things that you need to know. So it says theater chain AMC shares fall on worries of slower box office recovery. It says the world's largest cinema chain operator saw a 17% fall in footfall in its theaters in the fourth quarter. Despite the release of big-ticket films such as Avatar: The Way of Water, revenue fell 15.4% in the quarter. Quote, "This is AMC's 14th consecutive quarterly loss, and the market is punishing the shares for that fact." While more people are returning to the theaters, Hollywood has been releasing fewer movies as of late, AMC chief executive Adam Aron said at a post-earnings call on Tuesday. Quote, "By no means are we out of the woods yet," Aron said. In the United States and Canada, box office collection was above $11 billion in 2019, but since the COVID-19 pandemic, the numbers have fallen drastically, with 2022 box office numbers coming in at $7.4 billion, the company said. And you guys can kind of see visually represented in this chart what the box office did and, what it is doing now. So it is on a pretty consecutive recovery ever since 2020, but not quite to the same levels you were at before. It says Wedbush Securities analysts expect 2023 box office to be down 24% from 2019 levels. AMC, however, said it expects box office will not return to pre-pandemic norms before 2024 or 2025 at the earliest. Major franchises like Marvel and Star Wars have some relative dips in performance versus previous year's releases. Streaming has become the preferred way to watch movies since the pandemic, Lund Yates said, adding that the cost of living pressures were weighing on theater operators. Now, this is the part that I really wanted to highlight for you guys. It said still AMC said it would pay down its debt of about $4.95 billion as it continued to raise cash. It raised about $314 million in gross cash proceeds over the last 12 months. Quote, "AMC will have to continue to raise capital by diluting the equity holders to pay down debt until pre-pandemic theater traffic returns, if ever." Now, why I wanted to highlight that for you guys is because the vote, right? It all comes back to the vote, at least here in the short term. And we are getting new information from Adam Aron in regards to the vote with AMC. Essentially, this proceeding, this preliminary proceeding that will be taking place on April 27th is going to put AMC in a weird situation. So essentially, Adam Aron said that they can continue with the vote as is, but they can't actually do anything until the court rules on it. So we could be in a situation where this is a yes or a no on March 14th or shortly after that, but nothing can happen for over another month after that. So it puts the shorts in a very weird situation given cost bar rates are so high, given there are so many FTDs. We don't really see things like this happen all the time, so it's really hard to forecast what this could potentially do for the stock of AMC. But I would say anything out of the norm, anything to shake up this arbitrage trade would be an overall positive thing. So there you have that, and that is a big update because just hearing it from Adam Aron, it sets a different kind of tone and different precedent. Now, if we go ahead and take a look at AMC with the Ortex data, as you guys probably do know, the short interest is at the highest levels that you have seen in years now. This is higher short interest than you've seen in June of 2021 when AMC went up 10x in value and went through this huge, gamma squeeze. Can't even really call it a short squeeze because did shorts really cover in a big way? No. So a lot of it was a gamma squeeze. Well, you're higher now than you were then as far as the short interest, sitting at almost 26%. The live short interest, or the amount of shares currently sold short, sits at 132.84 million shares. Cost to borrow rate still remaining very, very elevated even after earnings at about 305.5% for the cost to borrow average. Cost to borrow max at 342% and cost to borrow minimum at about 1%. Interactive Brokers has us at about 1 million shares that are available to be traded, 174% cost to borrow rates. And if we take a look at the option activity, no surprise, 39 orders for the day, totaling $12.5 million, positive order value of 15%. So not a surprise there. Options have been very bearish on AMC, even on days that have been super bullish. The options continued to remain very negative. And I think this is interesting because I think the short interest is a lot higher based off of these large options that are, the puts. Most of the time, the puts that are being bought that are deep in the money that can essentially offset that short interest. But when it comes down to it, when AMC does go higher, it does not matter. Short interest is short interest. It will help squeeze shorts out of those short positions. Now, if we take a look at the FTD situation, this is going to be a big story over the next couple of days and weeks. Today, you are seeing about 3.2 million FTDs that come due. Tomorrow, 2.9 million FTDs. And on Friday, another almost 2.9 million FTDs. The following week after that, for March 6th, that is going to be Monday. You have 6.8 million FTDs that come due, and then you have 5.2 million FTDs that come due. On Wednesday, 3.5 million. On Thursday, 3.6 million. And on Friday, again, that is going to be March 10th, 1.5 million FTDs. And then the following week, you start off on Monday at 1.5 million FTDs. You go to 1.8, then you go to 2.4, then you go to 3.4, then you go to 3.9 million, and then you get almost to 7 million FTDs by March 17th. And I think that's where a lot of that actual short interest is being hidden in the option activity. It's on that March 17th option expiration. If you take a look at the Stocko Tracker data, you can see the numbers here are insane for March 17th. Even on the call side, 71,000 calls in the money, 631,000 calls out of the money. Put side, 272,000 puts in the money and 909,000 puts that are out of the money. So I think you can expect a lot of volatility from here until March 17th, but I do like to believe there will be an uptrend in AMC stock, and this is not over with, guys. So there's that. If you take a look at the technicals, you're very clearly in a bullish uptrend. Ever since you broke above this downtrending line, this is showing you a long-term downtrend, right? We've talked about it many times, a long-term downtrend, and you are now above that and pretty firmly above that. And until you went back down to about $5.30 per share, you're still going to be in this bullish uptrend as far as on a technical basis. Now, if you look at the RSI, that is at 57.34, so closer to that neutral level of 50. If you look at the MACD, that is in very bullish territory. So, but in the grand scope of things, you could get a lot more bullish than where we are now, right? There's a lot of potential room for momentum before you would get those algorithmic trading programs that would start to bid down this stock. And you're starting to see a technical picture actually forming here. If you do go ahead and draw some simple trend lines, right? Looks to be a triple top. And if you could draw this, it's close, right? It's pretty close. You could start to see how you're in an uptrending channel, and we could soon make another move to the upside. And just to point out yet again before we do wrap up this video, AMC does tend to sell off after earnings the initial couple of days, right, couple of weeks, but you do tend to rally overall in the grand scope of things the next 2 to 4 weeks after. Look right here, you had earnings, boom, the June rally. Look right here, you had earnings, you were at the lows, boom, rally. You had earnings right here, and this was the first time you never rallied to a new high, and that was in November of 2021 when the markets did start to take a poopy doop. Right here, March 2022, you had earnings, you sold off, and then you rallied exponentially. Right here, you had earnings, sold off, and then you consistently rallied until you got to this earnings, and then you had sold off and then rallied a little bit before earnings, and then you've seen that exponential move higher after earnings. Same story right here, sold off into earnings, seen a rally higher after earnings, and now we just got earnings. Wouldn't surprise me to come back down to this trend line, given we really didn't get too much to be excited about. Yes, AMC beat on the top line. That's after estimates were coming down, but they also lost a lot of money, and that was the big problem. We didn't get any guidance for profitability. AMC still does not know when they will be free cash flow positive again, even though this time last year they did post a positive EBITDA. That's not good. That is not good on a fundamental basis, and hopefully people can see how important fundamentals are to AMC sometimes, right? Sometimes people do care about fundamentals, and that gives shorts a reason to either remain short or it gives them a reason to cover on their short positions ultimately. And I think that is the direction that we are heading, guys. So all in all, do still expect a move higher from here, even though you got all of this negativity. I guess the pressure is going to be on the March 14th vote, and then after that, even if it's approved, nothing is going to happen for another month. And based off of what we're seeing today, AMC only down 7.5%, whereas even the markets today are pretty bearish overall. S&P down about 0.5%. It's a good sign. AMC could be down 10 to 20% based off of these earnings, based off of the loss that we've seen, almost $300 million. And the fact we did not get an estimate of profitability, it could be a lot worse. And I think this is holding up strength on an overall basis. When you factor everything together, this could be much worse. And I think it will set us up for another rally like it typically does after earnings, guys. So that is going to do it for this video. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comments section. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.